Okay, good evening. I'm Alison Lingane, co-founder of Project Equity, and I'm here to talk with you this evening about the greatest wealth transfer in our nation's history and how we can tap it for quality jobs. The silver tsunami is a great wave of baby boomer business owner retirements that is sweeping the nation. What most people don't know is that it threatens to dislodge the bedrock of our small business ownership and take it out to sea. The stark reality is that boomers own 1 out of every 2 local employers. 1 out of every 2 locally owned businesses with employees is owned by a boomer. Let's see a show of hands. How many of you all have frequented or used the services of a locally owned business in your community? Okay, so now imagine that that business quietly goes away, is replaced by a corporation, bought by an out-of-area buyer. What happens to relationships, to neighborhoods, to the quality of those jobs? But don't despair. There is a silver lining in this silver tsunami. And we actually have this incredible opportunity to tap this changeover of business ownership to address the very issue that it threatens to worsen, our racial wealth gap. We can transition the ownership of these businesses to the employees. Let me tell you a story. This is Sarah Vegas. She's a single mom, and she has spent her career in low-wage food service jobs. Sarah became a business owner in just this way when Niles Pie, the boomer-owned bakery where she worked, became employee-owned. Shortly after, about 6 months after that transition, the hard work of the team paid off, and the employee owners all received a meaningful profit-sharing check. In Sarah's words, this was the first time in her son's life that she had had a chunk of money like this. So she sat down with her 11-year-old son, Addison, and she said, you know what? You two sacrificed for me to be a business owner. I want you to help me think about what we should do with this money. For Sarah, employee ownership means that her small family is financially secure. It means that she can balance her career with parenting. And it means that her son is proud of his mom as an owner and a leader in a business. My own path into this work started 25 years ago when I led job training programs for young people. It didn't take me too long to figure out that if we prepare people for low-wage jobs in an economy that does not have paths to opportunity, that we aren't creating any change. We aren't helping people get out of poverty. I knew there had to be a better way. So my quest, as I like to call it, led me to business school and then to mission-driven companies to learn how to use business as a force for good. But my quest wasn't over until I literally stumbled upon employee ownership when I met my now co-founder, Hilary Abell. Employee ownership is both a profound and a simple business model in which business decisions are made through the lens of what is good for the employees and, by extension, their families and their communities. Employee ownership creates true pathways to opportunity and quality jobs. Wages are higher. Employee owners earn 1/3 again as much as their non-owner peers within their industry. Jobs are more stable. People stay about half again as long at their jobs. And assets, as measured by household net worth, are nearly twice as high. We've long known that business ownership is an important asset-building strategy. Employee ownership brings that benefit to the entire workforce. So let's connect this back now to the silver tsunami of baby boomer retirements. Let's meet Tom and George, who are the owners of a long-standing specialized manufacturing company in the Bay Area. And as they retire, they want the legacy of this business that they have poured decades into, they want it to carry on into the next generation. And who better to do that than their employees? So the employees are purchasing the business from Tom and George out of the profits that their wages create. Now remember, Tom and George are not alone. They are in good company with 1 out of every 2 local employers. That's 2.34 million companies across the country. Those 2.34 million companies collectively employ 1 out of 6 private sector employees. 1 out of 6 private sector employees. That is a tremendous opportunity for scale. In other parts of the world, employee ownership is something that is normal and familiar, and people know what it is. They don't have to accidentally stumble across it, as I had to. But we have the opportunity to change that. We are in an incredibly important moment in time. Just last month, Congress passed landmark legislation in support of employee ownership. Hooray! The Main Street Employee Ownership Act was passed, and it supports exactly these kinds of business transitions. Now is our time to tap the greatest wealth transfer in America's history to scale employee ownership. At Project Equity, we partner with organizations around the country to bring this strategy to diverse communities. Together, we are in service of workers to create pathways to ownership and economic resiliency. We can create prosperity for people like Sarah. We can create prosperity for workers in our economy who most need it. Now is the time to tap the silver tsunami, to scale employee ownership, and create quality jobs. Thank you.